Earlier in the week, there was something that came out with Call of Duty World War II pertaining to DLC 4 that got me interested a little bit, but it was something that also came directly from the source. We talked about that the other day, in which Activision published an article regarding DLC 4 over on their official blog. So instead of it coming from somewhere just outside or out of the ordinary, somebody that claims to have inside information, it came directly from the source. Now, since then, we've seen some updates from Sledgehammer saying that some things were incorrect with what was published, so maybe we didn't get everything right here out of this, but regardless, that was the first real introduction that we had to DLC 4 on some official capacity. That said, during that video, we talked about normally we end up seeing trophies and achievements leak out early, and that's something that is usually the first installment that we see in terms of information for the upcoming map packs. Well, late last night, we actually just got that, which gives us a lot more information and a lot more confirmation about some specific things regarding Call of Duty World War II's final DLC map pack within year 1 of its support. So that said, today we're going to be talking about everything here on hand, kind of cross-referencing it as well with what we've seen previously, and talking a little bit about what we can end up seeing with the future of World War II and DLC 4 here in the very near future, because we are getting very close, as this trophy leak does suggest. PlayStation does not put this stuff up if it's not right up on the horizon here, and something that we can expect to see very, very soon. So that said, let's just jump right into it. So first and foremost, once again, we ended up seeing that PlayStation put these trophies up on their store. This is public knowledge. You can actually go check this out if you have a PlayStation and you want to go and check this out for yourselves. All you have to do is go over to your tab for trophies and then scroll down to Call of Duty World War II, and you'll see right there all the list of DLC thus far. We end up seeing that we have the Resistance, War Machine, United Front, and then what we now see confirmed to us as Call of Duty World War II Shadow War. Now, this was something that report from earlier in the week actually did give us some information on, but again, it was unconfirmed at the time, especially with Sledgehammer saying that some things were not necessarily exactly correct. One such thing that does happen with those sort of things is that names are sometimes changed around, and maybe we still do see some things changed out, because as of even just a couple of weeks ago, PlayStation still had Unified Front as the name for the United Front DLC, and so maybe that's something that the name has slightly altered here with that one, and this is the sort of pre-release name for it. But as it stands right now, it does match up with what we saw earlier in the week, as Shadow War being DLC 4's main name for that title. Then also we end up seeing that they also got another thing right, the map name being called the Frozen Dawn. Now, alongside this, we also get the actual achievements here with this, in which it gives us a little more information, but I want to let you guys know about these real quick before we jump into maybe what else we can end up seeing here out of this. But that said, firstly, spoiler warning, of course, if you guys don't want to know much about what is up on deck for the Frozen Dawn, skip ahead by a minute or two here at this one, but spoiler warning out of the way, here's what the achievements are. So the achievements are: in the Frozen Dawn, enter the lost city of Thule. Then in the Frozen Dawn, unlock the ancient Überspringen. In the Frozen Dawn, traverse the Thulian transport with each type of zombie. In the Frozen Dawn, instantly traverse to the bridge from the caves. In the Frozen Dawn, survive the trials of the Moon Raven. In the Frozen Dawn, survive the trials of the Blood Raven. In the Frozen Dawn, survive the trials of the Death Raven. In the Frozen Dawn, kill 100 zombies with each Raven weapon in a single match. And in the Frozen Dawn, defeat the ancient evil. So that said, we can end up seeing a couple of different things here with this one. One, of course, enter the lost city of Thule. That's probably the landing zone before the battle or the final boss sequence here for the Easter egg, or perhaps that's something in which you start out on the Antarctic surface but then have to make your way down, very similar to how you did in, say, Buried, where you start up at the top but then everything else is underground. So maybe that's just an entry point achievement. Then we can end up seeing that the ancient Überspringen could be the wonder weapon here at this one, because you have to unlock that one. The Thulian transport is probably a way to get around what is already detailed as a multi-leveled zombies map. Then we also see that the ancient evil is probably that final ending piece to this with the Easter egg and coming up and wrapping up the entire zombies storyline here for this. That said, that's some cool stuff that we get here out of the achievements that PlayStation made public, and it also cross-references some things that we can, of course, now see for certain. That being the zombies name and also the map pack name as well. But that said, that leaves a lot of unanswered questions also on the table, because what we end up seeing from the PlayStation trophies and any trophies or achievements in general in map packs are primarily never to do with multiplayer, because unless we get a massive multiplayer expansion that adds some core challenges or some core fundamental things like a massive camo challenge or something like that, we don't ever end up seeing anything that would require us to really go out and do anything differently than what we normally do, other than just play the game on the new maps. Whereas zombies, you end up having a complete Easter egg and a quest attached with each one. That, of course, is why it warrants new trophies and new achievements each individual time a new map pack is released. So that said, it still doesn't offer us much in the way of multiplayer, and with that last piece of information from Activision and the article that was published earlier in the week, while that didn't give much information either, we're still relatively in the dark. But that said, we still have some indications as to maybe seeing some stuff here with this one in terms of what was data mined by a user on Reddit by the name of PredGFX. Now again, this could all still be something that is not correct, but he ended up digging into the current build of World War II on the PC, in which he ended up seeing that we have the map names of Airship, Führer Bunker, and Tank Graveyard, as well as the War Mode map apparently being named Raid in the console codenames. Now, these names are of course subject to change because, as just mentioned, these are just console codenames. For those of you guys that know how the development works of these maps and anything in development like that, they're sort of shorthand names that they give that are easy to associate with whenever talking in developmental language and when actually going and associating different files with each other. So that is not always the name that is publicly known as for what shows up on loading screens and everything, but that's something that is still on the table here at this one. But again, take that one with a grain of salt. We've not seen anything relating to that from either PlayStation or from the Activision blog post that was taken down. But that said, we do have more information now, just overall in general, that may point to even more information coming very, very soon. Now, for those of you guys that have been following along, Sledgehammer is actually having their weekly community update stream tomorrow instead of Friday. Now, what I take away from this is that we're going to get something relating to DLC 4 here with this. I just can't see this going any other way in my mind, because we normally see things come out in terms of marketing on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tomorrow happens to be a Thursday, and of course, also PlayStation does not publish trophies that far in advance for things that may launch in terms of DLC and those expansions that come out. We normally see that happen the week beforehand. So we're now just 6 days out from the next Tuesday, which could potentially be the release date for DLC 4. So if that were not to be the case, PlayStation would not have published the trophies this early on. So that leads me to believe that tomorrow we'll end up getting a DLC trailer, maybe some map previews or anything like that. And so therefore, that might be the first real confirmation and first look in at DLC 4, the final map pack of the first year of content for Call of Duty World War II. Now, of course, we won't know any of this for certain up until tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, or rather, I believe maybe 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then also that is 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. GMT if I'm not mistaken. But regardless, we'll know soon enough whether or not we end up getting DLC 4 actually debuted tomorrow for us, and also if it's coming Tuesday or if it's coming the following Tuesday. But it is something that we have a lot of stuff here already on the table for all of this. First Activision, now PlayStation, and so I'm hoping to see that we get more information out of Sledgehammer officially tomorrow on what very well may be called Call of Duty World War II Shadow War, but that's something we'll have to see and wait until tomorrow to get that full confirmation via their weekly community update. One thing also kind of tying in with this, but also just tying in with the community update as well, if you guys want to go in and check out World War II right now, either on multiplayer or zombies, if you take a look at the SMGs, either in the weapons with the variants there, or if you're in zombies and you want to take a look at the weapon kits, and take a look at the WAF 28 in particular. If you end up going through, you end up seeing one specific change that was made here out of what may be a hotfix. We ended up getting one late last night, which was kind of weird that we ended up getting one so randomly during the evening, but it was one that added an entirely new variant here to this, the Waffenschmiede 2. One of the ones that personally I've been a huge fan of and have been waiting to see if we'll end up getting this at any point in time, but it's something that was added very stealthily to the weapon system, in which we had the epic variants of this before always listed, but the Waffenschmiede 2 was just added in overnight. So that's something that is now visible in both multiplayer killer as well as zombies, but it is something that may indicate the new 24-hour weapon variants available via contracts over this weekend. We saw previously that we saw the Iron Curtain 2 be available for 24 hours only twice. Then we had the Rex Revolver as that sort of flash weapon contract as well this past weekend. And so coming up this weekend, maybe we end up seeing this happen again, but with a Waffenschmiede too. So that's something that I expect to come out of tomorrow's community update as well as some DLC 4 talk. But that, I think, is where we're going to wrap it up here at this one, because there's a lot of cool stuff on the horizon, and of course with DLC 4 potentially coming as early as next Tuesday, and some information coming here out of this tomorrow. I'm excited for what the next 24 hours holds for Call of Duty World War II. So that said, of course, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think it is too much of a wild guess to think that it's coming this early on, or do you think it's going to be something that actually does happen? What do you think here out of all of this? I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback. So that said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure to drop a like down below, and of course if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Call of Duty World War II, updates, DLC, news, best class setups, tips, tricks, and of course Blackout and Black Ops 4 content's coming very, very soon once again, as we get more so geared up towards the launch of that as well. So if any of that interests you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, that's the best place to get connected with me outside of YouTube. Practically live on Twitter. If you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. And also if you guys want to follow me over on Instagram, a little more active over there, so that link is also down there as well for you guys to check out. But that said, thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully DLC 4 information coming officially tomorrow. But until then, we'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and peace.